Hello everybody, this is Diane. I am in the final stages of working on this Christmas journal. I am going to have to make an adjustment here because the tripod is right in front of me. I had the legs situated wrong. Sorry. So, hopefully I won't bump the camera too much now. It's a good thing I didn't put the cover together before I finished the pages because it ended up being fatter than I thought. I put a lot of stuff in here. So I am going to need a 2.5-inch spine, and I am using the file folder, the green file folder, and I decided to try doubling that just to make it a little more rigid. I want it to be flexible, but this will give it a little more, I don't know, sturdiness. So I'm just going to glue these pieces together and then we'll carry on. I'm going to flip it so the dark side is on the inside because I think I'm just going to put a plain muslin on the inside of the spine. And I'd rather not have the dark showing through. So I cut this 2.5 inches and of course the same height as the book cover. And I will show you how I've shown this before, but if you haven't seen it, this is how I determine the width of my spine. I have to move this so that you can see my grid here. So my pages are all done. They're all embellished. The cards and tags are in it. So it is as full as it's going to be until I send it out. Whoever gets it can fill it more. And I just put it on my grid that's on my mat here. And where it feels comfortable, I'll put my arm around the tripod so my hand doesn't get in your way. This is where it feels comfortable. I'm not forcing the spine together and giving it an alligator mouth. I'm letting it rest comfortably so the covers are straight up and down pretty much. Well, that's 2 inches. Yeah, I think 2 inches is good enough. Okay. Yesterday when I did that, I must not have been, I don't know, but I thought it was 2.5 inches. So when this glue is dry, I'm going to cut that to 2 inches because I don't want it to be wider than it needs to be. So while we wait on that to dry, I had decided for the end papers that I could use some of the leftover ideals pages, and I love these beautiful colorful illustrations, but I thought they would be a bit much with what's going on this, because this will be facing one, and then the back side of this one. There's a lot going on, so I thought I should use something a little more subtle. So I chose these blue tinted pages. So this one will be on the front. So I'm just going to mark where it needs to be cut. It's more important to get the height measurement accurate than the width, because some of the paper on the inner inner edge will be covered with fabric from the spine. So I would rather cut it a little bit too long. It's just a fraction too long, but now I can trim it. I'd rather have that than have it be too short. And I purposely trimmed it just a tiny bit narrower than I had it marked so that it won't interfere with the folding here. So I'm just going to shave a bit off the top. And I won't glue this down until I have the spine put together. I just figured I'd prep them while I wait for the glue to dry on that folder piece. Okay, that looks good. Now, the corners are soft on the cover, so this square corner sticks out a little bit, but I'm going to use book covers, or book corners. So that'll hide that. I think I just wanted to use this with the desert scene. So I'm just going to start by trimming off the border, and that'll help me to do the rest of it more easily. That does not look straight. I could not sleep last night. My mind wouldn't stop. Very frustrating. So I finally got up, and I was in here finishing up those signatures, and I was in here till 2:30. And when I went to bed, I still couldn't sleep. It took me a while. I didn't even look at my Fitbit reading to see how many hours I ended up with. All I know is I think I'm going to have a nap today. So I did sleep longer. I stayed in bed later than I normally would, of course. The beauty of working from home but I got work done during that time, so I have less to do today. So it's all good. And I'm going to have Layla and Teddy here later. Before dinner, they'll be here, so they'll probably be here. Well, Layla might be spending the night. I'm not sure. Just going to shave off the top of that. Then I think I can trim my file folder piece. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to take a little bit. This is the inside edge. I'm going to take a little bit off of that. I wish this edge was the one that was going to be covered with fabric. Okay. Set those aside. Two inches. Now we will assemble. I have a piece of Tyvek cut This is not the Tyvek that came off envelopes. This was, it looked like some sort of a lab coat. It opened in the front, it had snaps, plastic snaps, and it had sleeves and pockets. Somebody sent it to me in a Happy Mail. So it's a little softer, but it's Tyvek. It's still strong and sturdy. So I've been cutting that up, and I got it in a Happy Mail a long time ago. But I decided I would start using it because it's just in with my other stuff, and I avoided grabbing that because it's a lot easier to just cut from a rectangle, but I figured I might as well start using this. So I've been using it for a while. I had cut the sleeves off and cut the snaps away and, prepared it as much as I could, but it's still in a regular shape. But I still appreciate it because Tyvek isn't cheap. So that's why I figured I'd use it instead of just letting it sit there. I see this is coming up a bit, so I am going to glue that. Some of these layers are loose. This is a 1940s book, so it is old. I still get a little raspy from time to time, but sounding much better. I think I'm going to have to go grab another red tape. Yep. Whoops. I'll be right back. Move this up so I can see my grid, because I use my grid to line my pieces up. Sorry, this is the boring part. Applying the tape and peeling the backing. It's boring for me too. Hopefully you're crafting along and keeping busy. I'll let you know when it gets interesting again. Well, come on. I almost had it. There we go. Get in there. One more. Okay. Now we're in business. So I line this up at the bottom. You can't see the bottom of my grid, but I line the bottom of the book up with the bottom line, or it doesn't have to be the bottom line, but I have most of my grid covered, so that's what I'm using. And I line the side up with one of the vertical lines. And then I just line the other pieces up with a very, very tiny space in between. And I have to be careful to keep my fingers off the edge where the tape is, because I always knock the piece out of place when I move my hand away, because I'm sticking to it. I take my time doing this because this is important for the structure of the book. So I have everything lined up, and they're lined up with the lines on the grid and along the bottom with a tiny space in between. Everything looks good. Now I'm going to carefully just lay this down over and try not to move any of the pieces. I think that was a successful operation. And it is how flexible is it? It's not as flexible because I doubled it. Make sure that glue, but it is flexible. I think I'm going to like that with the sturdier edge or spine. Okay, now the fun part, decorating it. I chose this color, this fabric, for the spine. It's not Christmassy, but it's blue, and there's a lot of blue. In the cover. So I just cut it so it's wide enough to cover the spine and then connect to the front and back. And normally I like to have a piece that is long enough to wrap all the way around and connect in the middle. But I didn't have enough of this piece. I love this piece of fabric, and this is the last of it. So let's see if I want to trim some of this off. Oh, I think it's good. I think I'll just leave it the way it is. Now, if I was not going to cover the end paper, I would have made sure either, well, I can trim that. That's kind of big. I would make sure that the fabric is going to cover the Tyvek. But it doesn't matter in this case because I'm going to put end paper down and cover it anyway. But there's no point in having a loose flap there, even though it will be covered. I'm using Fabri-Tac. Just glue down this end. And then I have to glue down the outer spine part. I want to cover the back. I want to do that before I glue that fabric down. What do I want to cover the back with? I didn't think about that. About that. Because there's red here. I think I like that together. Oh, I hate to use up a double-sided paper. About that one. That one might be better anyway. Six by, I think it's 8. Not quite 8. I try not to get that gluey fabric on anything. I know it'll be dry by the time I want to glue it down, and I'll have to apply more glue. I don't think I need to shave this one. For some reason that edge sticks out a little bit. There. That looks pretty good, right? All of that together. Sorry. Okay, let's put some more glue on this fabric. And the stitching will be sewn through that, so that'll make it more secure, but I like to put enough glue on anyway. And I smooth it down without pulling on it too tightly, just so that it's nice and wrinkle-free. And I think that really looks pretty together. Still have more fun stuff to do. The end papers and the trim and the book corners. And we do have to cover that, so I just got some muslin. And I'll make it the same width as the blue fabric. And off some of the length. I just leave the frayed edges because I don't mind that. Got strings all over me. Thinking about how I want to do things now that the Christmas journals are about done and going into the new year. I want to learn some new things. Doing these Christmas journals, I was able to do them quickly for a variety of reasons, and I talked about that previously, but one of the reasons was because I did so much of what I always do. And there's nothing wrong with that. I make my covers the same way, and I can make them fast because I've made so many. I would love to know how many journals I've actually made. But I want to learn new techniques for making covers and binding journals and just other things that I've had on my list for a while of things to do. So I was thinking that maybe between finishing this and the new year, I have to shave a little bit more off of that. Yep, it's still a tiny bit too tall. That I might finish up some projects that I need to do that are mine. For one thing, my book reader's journal is almost used up, and I've been using it for several years, but it's time to make a new one. So I think while I do that, I'll make one for my shop also. And so that's not going to be a new technique book or anything, but I have, oh, this is the side I want. I have a couple of books that I started for me that I haven't finished. And then I have a course, a journal course that I bought, and I have all the supplies for it, I think. So I want to do that. And maybe, I'll make one for me and maybe make one for the shop. And, I have a friend who asked me to make a specific journal that she can give as a gift. I have to do that. I could start on that, but she said she has some fabric. She sent me a picture of the fabric. It's really cute. She wants it to be a chicken theme. And the fabric, she has two pieces of fabric. One has chickens and the other one is eggs. It's cute. So she lives quite a distance from me. I mean, like an hour or so. Not terribly far, but we usually meet in the middle, or probably closer to my house, when we want to go on a trip, and one of our excursions. So I don't know when I'm going to get that fabric from her, but if she wants me to use it, it better be pretty soon, because I don't like to wait too long, because then we'll have to connect again so she can collect the journal. So anyway, I have that to do. Oh, and I have 3 design team projects that there's no deadline on, and I don't even have the one kit I'm going to use for Victoria Designs isn't even available yet. But the other one, I have the kit, the other 2, and they are from Tailor Made Journals. I have the 2 kits all printed and everything. So I'll be working on those. So I do have a lot lined up. is cute. Cute, cute, cute. Now, as you probably have noticed, there is a spot where the paper was torn away because there was a price sticker there. There's also a little spot here and here, but I am not going to worry about them. I don't think, but maybe. But I did find this piece of trim where I could center that circle over the spot and wrap it around to decorate and also to cover that spot. It's a tricky area because I didn't want to cover his face or the word Jesus, so it's kind of weird to just put something right there over the spot. So I thought this was a good solution to have something wrap around, and looks like it was decorative, which it will be. But let's continue on. I think I've been using this trim a lot in the journal, so I think I will just add it to the front. It's got silver threads in it, and it's so pretty. Just cover up the raw edge of the fabric with this. And as I learn new things, I can share them with you. I bought Rit dye a long time ago. I bought several bottles from Amazon because I couldn't find the colors I wanted at Walmart. I bought 4 bottles, and they were not cheap. And then I got a whole bunch of different colors from a flea market, and the lady wanted to leave. She always sells her things at a really good price anyway, but she just wanted to finish up and leave. She had a deadline. She wanted to get out of there. I think it was hot or something, and she just wanted to leave. So she said everything was $1 or 50 cents. I think it was 50 cents because it was ridiculously cheap. So I started to go through the box of Rit dye to pick out some colors because I wasn't going to pass that up. And she said the whole box. So I got the whole box for, it was either 50 cents or $1, whatever. It was ridiculous in a good way. So I've got Rit dye, and I've been hesitant because mainly because I don't know what to use to dye it in. Like, should I buy a plastic tub? You know, like not too big, because I'm just going to be dyeing paper. I have some fabrics that I want to dye. And I want to dye papers and laces, probably. Seam binding. But I think the instructions said you can do it in your washing machine, but I don't want to do it in my washing machine because then I'm afraid I'll dye my clothes the next time I wash clothes if I don't clean it out good enough, you know. So if you have experience with that, let me know. So that's something I want to do. And then another thing is I bought resin, like the 2-part resin that you mix together and then you can brush it on paper or coat things with it. I wanted to play with that. So I do have things I want to learn and do and grow. How about you? Do you have goals for new things you want to learn? I'm just going to go ahead and put that on because it just keeps bugging me that that's there. So I'm just going to go ahead and put it on. I might regret it. I might think, oh, I should have done this before I put it on. Now the edge of the book is a little bit worn, but it's not terrible. And I like that it looks worn. I am going to put book cover corners on to protect those soft corners. I was hoping, as I said yesterday, to get these journals, all the Christmas journals, done by the end of the first week of November. And today's Friday, so I thought I might have to go into Saturday to finish. but I think I'm making the cover now and I can sew the pages in this evening. I do that while I watch TV usually. And I might have some finishing touches to do Saturday, but it'll be basically done. I don't need to add anything inside because there's straight edges of paper there. We're looking good. I think that's probably enough embellishment. I don't think that it needs anything else. I'm going to get my, oh, here it is, my Glossy Accents. I apply a little Glossy Accents to my book corners just to make sure that they are secure. So I don't get to use these very often. I ordered these from Amazon a long time ago, but they're for a thin book cover, and mine aren't usually that thin. But this works perfectly. I will have to pinch that or hammer it closed. But it's a good size. I'm anxious to show you the flip through of this journal because there's a lot of fun things in there. Very unusual things that you won't find in any other journals, which is part of the fun of using vintage things that I find at the flea markets. Some of you get to go to estate sales. I don't. I just signed up. There was an estate sale near my house this summer, and I joined her Facebook group. And so I get notified. And so this is the first I've ever had a thing that would notify me of local estate sales. And there's one going on this weekend, but it's in Rome. And that's a little bit, I mean, it's not that far, but I've never driven there. And I'm very nervous about that sort of thing. Just ask my kids. If somebody wanted to go with me, I'd be all over it. I'm going to look for my hammer. Took me a moment to remember where I store my hammer and stuff now. And they've been there a while. So I'm just going to pound this closed. Widened it. This might be the first time I've used these book corners. Because other book corners, I think I'll try crimping this one, but I think that makes a mark in it. I'm going to put it on the back. I don't think I'm supposed to crimp with that. These have a flat edge. Pinching it together makes it spread apart, and that's not what I want. These are even smaller pieces. Let's see if that works better. I think the book cover is a little too thick for that. So I'm gonna just let the Glossy Accents hold it. Maybe I don't need to pinch it. Just make sure I get enough glossy accents in there. It's not flowing very freely today. Okay. Now let's see how these pages fit in here. Beautiful. I'll put some sort of a book plate here and probably a little pocket over here. Let me check my library pocket supply. This is nice because it has blank space there that can be written on, and I can cover this part up and that part. But I'm running out of time here on this video. Ooh, let's use some of this Florentine paper. So I just got this Florentine paper, and I did a video showing it, and I'm thrilled that I'm actually using a bit of it. This was one of the, what they called the assorted paper strips. I think this is the width that it came. This is the size that it came. But I also got this same print in full sheets. So I'm just starting tentatively by using one of the strips, but it was the one that went with the book anyway. I was going to cut up one of my sheets to use in the book, and then I realized that I had it in the small size. So I was willing. I don't need the whole book. Looking for my distress ink. Woke up to frost this morning. Some places near me had snow the other day, but not here. I live in a valley between two rivers, so the surrounding higher elevations get snow before I do. I'm not sure what to put there yet. I'm going to have to look around. Maybe some lace. I don't want it to be just a rectangle of paper here and a rectangle of paper up there. I think it'll end up being some lace up here, but maybe not that one. So anyway, when you see this book the next time, it will be completed. Thanks for watching and seeing how I put the cover together. And oh, don't know where that one went. There's still glue on there. Oh, this is probably it. So I'm going to add some more glue and make sure this is secure. I tried to take this one off so I could replace it with one that didn't get wider, expand. But that's very secure, so I know the glue is going to hold them. Okay. Alright, I've got to get on with this, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Have a creative day today. Bye-bye.